Namaskar, and a very warm welcome to all of you in this episode. We have been talking about the future of our country, and the future of our country is our children. And that is the reason we have been focusing on making sure that our children get best of the things available to them to making our country really developed country at the earliest possible. Now, if we have to do that, then we have to make sure that the ones who are responsible for making these children learn what they have to do, we have to talk about them also. Of course, initial years, the parents are responsible for that. But once the child is sent to the school, then the teachers become the most important factors in their life. And when I talk of the factors, then you see there are their peers, their parents, their other family members, their society, which impact the children. But who impact the most? And these are the teachers. So when we talk of the teachers, I mean, we do talk about children, their problems, how can they be made to do better. But then again, I'm coming back to the same point, that who makes them to do that? And they are the teachers, as I mentioned before also. So let me talk about the teachers today, because I'm very sure about one statement which I read somewhere, that schools are the nursery for the future of a nation. And the teachers are the architects. So we have to think of if the architect is good, is empathetic, is emotionally strong, is mentally strong, is physically strong, and does not have so much of a stress, then that architect would be able to take care of these children so well. Because if the teachers are really comfortable, if they are happy, then they definitely will transmit that happiness to our children. So if you can recall the days of COVID, when all of a sudden the entire world was in a situation when nobody was knowing what is going to happen, and everybody was locked indoors. And the same happened to the teachers, the same happened to the students, schools were closed. But during that time, if you can recall it, who were working the most? They were the health caregivers, like the doctors and paramedical personnel, and then these were the teachers. Because the children were confined to their homes, and there were a lot many negative news which were being discussed at home or being shown on television. So the children were getting psychologically and emotionally disturbed. And all of a sudden, I mean, the teachers had a lot of responsibility of not only taking care of themselves and their family, but also taking care of those students who were away from them. They were not physically close to them. Because till that time, every teacher was of the habit that the children will come to the school, they will be together with the children and really make them learn. But now all of a sudden, distance was there, and more importantly, not all teachers were so much tech savvy. I mean, there were teachers who did not even know how to really use Teams or Zoom or those mediums which would make us connect with our children, not only talking to them, even seeing them through video as well. So they had to learn it as quickly as possible. They did it, and mind it, as anybody else was suffering emotionally, that time even the teachers were doing so. Their families were also going through the same trauma as any other citizen of the country or of the world was going through. But they managed themselves and they managed their children. And you can all appreciate the efforts which were put in by the teachers, and they were the ones who not only teach them but talk to them, motivate them, remain confident and without any worry of the serious situation of COVID. And this continued not for a day or a month, it continued for years. And these teachers were doing, I mean, those kinds of works which they never did before. I mean, conducting examination online and making it sure that it is done with the fair means. And then preparing results, promoting children to the next class. And I remember, I mean, that time when CBSE had given a task to the schools and with some parameters put in place that the results are to be prepared by the schools and sent to CBSE. How difficult it was for the teachers, but they did it. They did it exceedingly well. But at what cost? There would have been a lot of stress, lot of demand from everywhere, and they were themselves suffering of the trauma of COVID. So during that time and before that also, there have been people who have been trying to understand that what kind of stress and how much burden, how much burnout these teachers have in schools. Now, I did know about it from some sources, because when it comes to myself, I never felt that way. I mean, I'm so sorry to say it for those teachers who might take it otherwise, but I will tell you the reason for that. Why did I not feel that stress or that burnout? But yes, definitely, when we talk of the teachers in our country, I mean, it is considered to be a very simple job, very easy job. People say that it is 7 to 12 or 7 to 2 job, and after that, teachers are free. This is not so. Today, I want to talk to you all, the parents and even the teachers who might not be aware of it, that how much work these teachers have to do. They are supposed to teach there in the classroom. That is what is expected of them. But they don't do only that work. That is only a partial work of the total time which they spend doing the school-related task. Now, teaching in the classroom is very, very important, but then preparing a lesson before that. Suppose there is a teacher who is taking 4 classes or 5 classes. So that teacher has to prepare a lesson for all 4 classes. And this lesson has got to be in such a manner that it caters to the needs of every child if it is to be done properly. So it's not an easy job. I mean, everybody cannot do it. It seems to be very easy, and people say nowadays ChatGPT can help you, but no. Until and unless ChatGPT knows your children, it cannot be done, because your children, you only know. I mean, these teachers who are teaching are responsible for these kids, they only know. So that is one task which they have to do it beforehand for the entire week, or maybe on daily basis, which nobody really thinks about. Then not only then teaches in the classroom, tries to take the feedback from the children, keeps the record of that feedback, so that in the next lesson plan, they can take care of the things which worked well and which did not work well. So that record keeping is also very, very important. Conveying that to the head of the department or the head of the school and to the parents and to the children is an additional thing which they have to do. It's not only that you have kept the record, it is to be shared with everyone, those who are responsible to helping you making things better for the kids. Now, after that, I mean, almost on maybe weekly basis, maybe monthly basis, maybe twice in 3 months, or maybe once in 3 months, and then half yearly, then annual examination, then pre-board examination. You look at the number of examinations which children go through, and the teachers are responsible for administering those examinations. Now, examination word seems to be very simple. But for that, you have to make preparations. You have to really set question papers, and that too quality question papers. It's not that you pick up questions from anywhere and just give it to the children. No, you have to really know what you are going to really evaluate, what you really want your children to have learned by this time. So the question papers are to be set, the question papers are to be evaluated, the result is to be prepared, the result is to be kept as a record, and it is to be informed to the parents. That is another thing which is very, very important. Now, it is not only that. I mean, LOCs are, I mean, when it comes to classes 10th and 12th, the teachers are responsible for making it sure that the names of the children, parents, then other details which are there are filled correctly. Because if there is any mistake, it is the teacher who is held responsible for that. The teachers will have to, when it comes to internal marks or grades, so that work is also to be done by them. And then in between, see, there are other duties also, like safety of the children is very, very important. So for that, I mean, whether it is the break time, to which you call as recess time, the teachers have got to be on their toes to making sure that the children are safe. And also whether it is the arrival to the school or dispersal time, I mean, everywhere the teachers would have to be on their toes to making sure that their children are absolutely safe and there is no issue. And it does not stop at school only. Nowadays, the communication is very, very fast. It's WhatsApp, it's messages, it's the mails, and the parents can call the teachers anytime, whenever they feel like, until and unless there is some understanding between the parents and the teacher concerned that this time they may not call. But that's, yes, of course, if a child is having a problem for some reason, the parents are having all the freedom to call the teachers, and they must do it. And then there are other responsibilities, like as a class teacher, as a housemaster, as a HOD, as some in charge of some other activities, because there are a lot many curricular and co-curricular activities which really happen there in the school during the day and every week. So they are responsible for that also. And then house record is to be kept. In some cases, even the fees to be collected by the teachers and deposited there in the accounts department. I mean, there are some schools like that. Not all schools, but there are some schools. Then there are annual days, there are excursions, there where the children are taken out, and for that teachers have to plan it, execute it, and then again come back and see how much learning was done by the students there in those excursions and outings, so that this can help them plan their lessons properly. Now, not only this, nowadays, I mean, things are changing so fast. So that there is lot many professional development courses which they have to do. I mean, CBSE has already mandated at least 50 hours a year. I mean, every teacher has to do it. So they have to attend these courses, go to conferences, go to seminars, go to workshop, or there in the school itself. So a lot of time is required for that. So what I'm trying to convey there, studies which have been done, and based on that it has been found that when it comes to teaching in the classroom, that takes only 50% or 55% of the total time. 45% of the time is spent on other activities, on other things which the teachers have to do, and we may not be aware of that. It has been found by many researchers that the teachers in India work for 10 to 12 hours every day. 10 to 12 hours. It may seem to be 6 hours or 7 hours as school timings. No, they have to work beyond that. As I told you, homework copy checking is also very, very important aspect or important work which they have to do almost on daily basis, because that it's not only one section or one grade which they are teaching more than that. And 160 kids or 200 kids at the disposal of that child. And it is the responsibility of the teacher to really look after every child. I mean, teacher can't say that I have 200 kids, so how do I take care of every one of them? No, teacher's responsibility is to take care of every child. I mean, an individual is an individual, maybe the part of that group of 200 kids for that teacher, but that child as individual is very, very important. And teachers would have to take care of that. So that sort of thing brings a lot of stress at times. And we as outsiders must appreciate it. I'm not saying that you are responsible or children are responsible for that. The nature of the work is such that they have to, if it was only teaching there in the classroom, things would have been slightly easier for the teachers. But as there are other things also which are to be done, because safety of the children, other activities which are to be done, the professional development which they have to go through, preparing LOCs and sending it to the concerned authorities, keeping the records, I mean, all important. I mean, it can't be without any record that we can really run as a school or the children can learn. That is important. Reports are important. Feedback is important. Reflection is important. Talking to the other people who can help them making things better for their children is important. So now you might be thinking that then what do you mean by that whole explanation which you have given? What I wanted to convey to you, to appreciate that teachers are working very hard. I mean, healthcare and teaching, these are two professions which are so pious. Anybody who comes into this must ensure that you are responsible for the human beings, for making the lives of these children. So if you would really get tempted by so much of money and all that, then you tend to lose the focus. And the focus is the well-being of our children. Proper learning of our children, making our children the best in whatever they can do. So, I mean, that when it comes to finances and all that, let it come as a byproduct. Let it come as we do get paid. I mean, all teachers are get paid well in many of the schools. There may be some schools, and particularly government schools, being paid so well. There may be some private schools where things are not that great. And I would request even those managements also to be careful, because you have established a school for the welfare of the children. And if the welfare of the teachers is not taken care of, then your children would never be able to really learn that much as they want, because your teachers are not happy. They are not physically or emotionally or mentally very strong. So it's going to impact our children very negatively. So I would request the management to take care of this issue also, that our teachers should be free of fear. There should not be fear than the fear of those senior in position and all that. Rather, they should have a sort of confidence that if there would be some need of some help required by them, this will be readily available to them. And then the parents also will have to think that PTMs are the occasions when we have to know a little more about our children and those ways in which we can make things better for them than just being a platform to really complain or something like that. So it should be a happy occasion of meeting the teachers and the parents along with the children for making the lives of our children better than what it has been. And when it comes to the teachers, I was in between talking to you that I never felt that stress, and I'm so lucky and so fortunate. I'm really grateful to Almighty for making it so happen, because I always felt that these children are good. And once I have taken up this responsibility, being a teacher, that which is a very, very important responsibility, I tell you. And for me, the children have been the most important thing around me and with me. We are learning from each other, and that happiness which I get with the children, despite the fact that there may be problems around, I never felt those problems. There would have been problems, there would have been issues, but I never felt them. So I would request the teachers also to really, if you want to reduce the stress, which you might be having it, that you are doing everything possible for the good of these children. And the moment you really make it as a focal point in your mind, then you are definitely going to forget about the stress which might be there. Because I always say that stress would come if you would invite it. If you do not invite it, if you take this responsibility being a teacher as someone who is expected to be doing the best, I mean, rest of the people may not be appreciating you, don't worry about it. Appreciation is needed for the motivation. But even if you don't get it and you feel that you have made some positive impact in the life of some children or many children, you should be really very, very happy with yourself. So teachers, you are doing a great job. Keep doing that. Please do not get diverted away from that main objective which you have. You are the architect of the future of nation. So take care of that. Be proud of that. I think you will be out of that stress. I would request the parents to think about it seriously, that it is not only there in the classroom. So whenever you go to meet the teachers, then you should be keeping these things in mind. And we should have respect for each other and trust each other so that our children are benefited. My focus would always remain that. So with these words, I take your leave. So thank you very much. God bless us all. Let's meet in the next video. Thank you.